Hey everybody, welcome back to Magic Orthodoxy. My name's David, and this is a Magic Review. Hey, do me a favor. I want you to, right now, stare at the back of my hand, okay? Right there where I'm shining this UV light, and I want you to think of a number between 1 and 10. Okay, don't pick 1, don't pick 10, don't be silly. Pick a number between 1 and 10. And then for the very first time, I want you to say it out loud. Commit it. Commit it. All right? Did you say the number 7? Obviously, that trick doesn't work every time, right? Especially over video. Especially over video where I can't see you, can't talk to you. That's Lux. Lux from Lloyd Barnes Murphy's Magic Supplies. This came out maybe almost a month now ago, at least. And you might be wondering, how come you didn't review this when it came out? Like, how come you didn't jump on the Lux bandwagon? To be honest with you, there was so much hype around this when it first came out, it almost scared me. Kind of like how movies, when there's like way too many commercials, way too many trailers, and they're like, go see it, go see it, go see it. It almost kind of like makes you think like, oh, is it gonna be good? Like, you really want me to see this movie. And I felt like there was just so many reviewers out there that were just hyping this. And so it almost did the opposite to me. It kind of made me pull back. So I felt like I'll just be last then. I'll be last. I'll be the last reviewer instead of the first. You know, I know the goal usually is get that video out there to get the views, but views are not what's important. Subscriptions, that's not what's important. Likes, that's not what's important. What's important is giving you the correct information, right? Being honest and straightforward with you. I would rather do that. I would rather do that. So sometimes I'm first, absolutely. Sometimes I'm first, that's fine. But in this case, I really felt like I want to do my due diligence and really spend some time with this project, and that's what I've done. All right, so let's say you pay $75 to hocus-pocus.com. What are you going to get? You're going to get this really nice box, right? Very nice box. And then inside that, you are going to get the 2 items that you need to do these effects. And you really only need these 2 things. One is a UV pen, and the other is a UV light. The UV pen has a modified barrel, so it has Lloyd Barnes custom signature, but it really is just a regular, everyday UV pen. There's really nothing special about it at all. And I think if you were to say, is it what I thought? I think what I originally thought was they were giving you a regular UV light and a gimmicked pen, but that is not the case. They are giving you a regular pen and a gimmicked light. In fact, the trick I just showed you earlier, I did with this pen. So this is just a regular everyday UV pen that I use for other stuff. So I already had it in the house. I already had it like, you know, shooken up and ready to go to dispel ink. So I've used this ink as well, and there really isn't any difference. But you are getting this little miracle worker. This is the doohickey that we're talking about, okay? So for $75, you are getting this light, okay? And really, if we're gonna say, is it well made? Yes. And it is not a found item. This is a precision made, engineered, crafted, tons of research and development put into this. If I were gonna compare this to something else in the magic community, I would say if you've ever gotten a watch that makes smoke come out of it, and then you have this big tutorial about how to use it, or maybe you've had a fire wallet, or maybe you've had a magic app on your phone, or you've had a mentalism watch that reveals a certain time, or you've had a thread reel that has a microchip on it and there's a lot of different modes. This is that, okay? This is the UV light equivalent of all of those things I just mentioned, okay? They have put a lot of time and research into this. This thing will do all the tricks that you see in the trailer and anything else you can think of. All right, so what does it do? What is it? Because I've realized I got this far into the review and I haven't even told you what the trick is, because I just assumed that you hadn't been living under a rock and you knew what Lux was. Well, it's the trick I just showed you at the top of this, right? And what I just showed you is kind of how I've been playing with this. I've had the number 7 on the back of one of my hands, just as if this hits, it's gonna go great. And on the other hand, I've had a surefire force that I know is gonna hit. So I can bounce back and forth between the two depending on how my pattern goes with the spectator. And really, this is a great multiple out because the spectator has no idea where you're going to shine the light, right? You could have something on this arm and this arm. If you were going to do, like, say, a reveal for an ESP card, you could have the two most popular, like one here, one on the back of this hand, one on the back. I mean, really, like I said, the limits to this are going to be your imagination, really. That's it. So you have a light, you have a pen, and like I said, it's a standard pen. You are buying a gimmick system that will enable you to trick the human eye into thinking that ink appears and disappears. That's not what's actually happening. No ink actually disappears and no ink actually appears. That is not what's happening. You are buying a system that tricks the eye into thinking that's what's happening. What's the overall quality and production value of the video? Well, it's done by Murphy's Magic, so I mean, they always make great videos. The very first video has a kind of quick disclaimer from Lloyd Barnes about how your gimmick is what was sold to you. Like, it almost feels like it's a disclaimer or an apology, and then it jumps right into a Murphy's Magic Studio intro with Javier Fuemir. And then Lloyd Barnes comes back and he walks you through the first initial setup. And he just quickly tells you exactly what the light does and how to operate it. And that kind of gets you going, right? That kind of gets you going and you're like, oh, okay, I get it. And then everything that follows is going to be back in the Murphy's Magic Studio with Javier Fuemir, and he's going to walk you through everything. And there's 4 videos, okay? There's 4 videos, 3 hours. 3 hours of magic tricks. The very first trick on the very first video is the X trick that you see in the trailer. And I think that's the one that everyone wants. You know, it's that moving X, or that portable ink trick that we've seen done with felt pens, where you make an X on the back of the spectator and then it disappears and it reappears on the magician. But now you're able to do it with UV light. And so just within that first video, okay, the first video is like 47 minutes long. All they do in that time is walk you through the modes, talk about setting up your device, talking about even hacking your pen so that it works. You got to get out pliers and fix the pen to make it work smoothly. They talk about batteries, talk about battery life, which before I forget, Lloyd Barnes says it should work for a few months. So depending on how much you use it, the battery that's in your light should last you a couple months before you need to change it. And any standard battery will work. There's the tiny microscopic kind, right? And then after they walk you through all the setup and Q&A and changing out your battery and fixing your pen, really the first video is only the moving X trick. And like I was saying, I think the majority of people who get this, they saw the moving X trick in the trailer, and that's the one they want to do, okay? And so I think that's why they put it in the very first video. And you could literally just watch the first video. Well, if you're not one of those people that's like, I don't want to watch hours and hours and hours of tutorials, I just want to do it. You could just watch that first video and be off and running, really, and you'd be done. In video 2, this one is 50 minutes long, and it's mostly card tricks, if you can believe it. So using the UV ink on the backs of playing cards. Now, obviously, that means that going forward, those cards will always have UV ink on the back of them unless it wears off over time and needs to be reapplied. You're going to get a studio performance with matte and explanations for every single trick. The first one is a ambitious card finale, where you show the top card, you shine the light on the back of it, and it's not theirs, it doesn't have their UV signature. But then, with a snap of your fingers, you shine the light on the back of the top card, and it does have their signature. So they visually watch their card rise to the top. The second trick is one with an invisible deck, but not an invisible deck. It's an invisible deck style trick. So they pick the only card out of a shuffled deck with no force. They pick the only one that has a mark, a UV mark on the back. Then, of course, they talk to you about how you could use this with mentalism. They do a card reveal in the back of the hand. They use it with Digital Force Bag, the app. They talk about how you could use it with Bank Night to find the fake bill among 5 identical bills. And they talk about how you could do it with a lottery prediction where the spectator randomly chooses numbers that you predicted. Video 3 is also 50 minutes long. They walk you through Paul Harris's Nightshades trick, but it's a UV Nightshades trick done with a dollar bill, where you draw glasses on the face of a president, and then you're able to give them that bill as a souvenir. They walk you through the classic ashes on palm effect. Then they're going to talk to you about different pens, different inks. You're going to get some additional ideas from Javier. They're going to talk about how you could actually use spray and stencils if you wanted a more clean look. And that's kind of where Lloyd steps in. There's some final thoughts, there's some history, there's some crediting, and there's an outro. And then part 4 is just one trick, and it's only 15 minutes long, and it's done with those word search coloring books that you get at the dollar store that have, like, crossword puzzles and stuff, and they talk about how you could make a word search more magical by using UV light, having the spectator select random letters and how they could form a word, and then you predicted that word. Pocket space, you only need the 2 items, the light and the pen that I showed you earlier. You're carrying those on your person, and that's all you need. There's no angles, right? There's no angles, and there's nothing to inspect. You could hand the light to the spectator, and in the mode that I was using earlier, that would be the mode I would give them. They could literally turn it on, shine the light, see nothing, right? Turn it on again, shine the light, and see the reveal. And that would make them feel like they did all the work, like they're going to push the button. So they're going to know that it wasn't in how you pushed the button or how you held the light. They're going to see right away that I held the light and it did all the work. Setup and reset. Obviously, you're going to draw any force item on your hand in advance, right? And obviously, if you wash your hands, it goes away, right? And then the other setup you have to do involves going through the cycles on the light, right? So you'll have to remember the code for the mode of the light that you want to use. So you'll have to have that one memorized. And so you just walk through the setup and then you're ready to go. Positives, what are the positives? It's a good trick. It really is. It's a good trick. It's a great trick. It is. It's a great trick. And I would say it's on par with the things I said earlier. It's going to be like any new smoke watch or a mentalism watch or any new thread wheel or any new app, anything that is technological that gets released during the year, which we always get like 3 or 4 of those products a year. It's going to be like anything like that. Okay, it's just like that. And so you're going to watch the trailer and decide if that kind of trick is what you want to do and if the price point works for you. Negatives. All right, so what are the negatives? There was a couple for me. The first one was it has an auto shut-off feature that's kind of like a battery saver, but that means once it auto shuts off, you have to walk through the setup again. So I can't just keep it in my pocket and walk up to someone and shine the light. Like, I'd have to pull it out of my pocket and then look at it and make sure that it's still on. Like, even in the time that you and I have been talking, I could go back to the UV light right now and hit the on button and no light would come on because it's now off. And to turn it back on, I would have to turn it on and then walk through the setup mode again and get it to where I want and then go perform. So, and I have a little bit of a window, but not a lot. So it shuts off, on its own. And then, like I said, you kind of have to reset it. So the other negative is, obviously, the ink doesn't really disappear from the back of the spectator's hand, right? It doesn't disappear, which means it's still there. So if you are someplace performing like at a bar or a nightclub where there's a lot of UV light, they're going to see the X on their hand again. Like, it's going to pop back up. It's going to show up. So it's not like you can hand everybody a wet wipe as they leave and say, hey, can you do me a favor and can you wash your hand? Or you could say something like, I'm going to do this trick a couple more times. Don't be surprised if when I make the X disappear from somebody else's hand, it reappears on yours. Whoa. But yeah, the ink is still there, right? It's going to be still there. It hasn't left their hand. Is it worth your money? Like I said earlier, it is $75. $75. And I think when you start putting that price point on some things, it starts to leave the realm of purchasers who are just curious about how tricks are done, or who are hobby magicians like myself, right? And so it kind of pushes it more towards the working professional. And I think a working pro would love this. I would just be wary, especially like at a wedding, right? Being around lights that DJs bring in. UV light can pop up in a lot of different places. Like I said, nightclubs, weddings. So I would just be wary about where your guests go, or if there's lights like that where you're performing, because they could also reveal that the mark is still on the back of their hand, and they could end up coming back up to you at the wedding and tugging on you and saying, "Hey, look, it's still there." so have an out, right? Have an out for that. You gotta have something you can say to say, "Oh, of course it's still there. Yeah, it magically came back." Hey, but don't take my word for it, okay? Don't take my word for it. I am not the best reviewer on YouTube, okay? I don't want to make that claim. Please go out and watch other reviews. There are other voices out there. Con Octogen did a review for this. Okay, go check him out. Go check out Craig Petty, of course. He did a review for this. Deceive Reality, that's a channel out there that you haven't seen. Go check it out. My boy Tyler Lunsford, of course, did a review for this. Ruse Reviews, one of the best magic review channels out there. Ruse Reviews, go check him out. Sebastian Toka, if you haven't seen his channel, you definitely want to drop by Sebastian and give him a like and a follow. And Joel Dickinson also did a review for this as well. That's everything I can say. I hope I was able to help in any way possible. And if that's the case, do me a favor, hit like, hit subscribe, hit follow, push all those buttons and help me out. That would be great. I'd appreciate that. And don't forget to stop by hocus-pocus.com for any purchases you might want to make, especially this one. They've got it in stock. Head on down there. They would love to answer any other questions you have about the tricks that they sell. And they have a lot of very interesting, very unique items that you can't find anywhere else. So stop by Hocus Pocus and give them your patronage. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye. Hey, do you want some more information about the t-shirt I was wearing in today's video? Sure. If you scroll down, there's a row of graphics that look like t-shirts, and you can click any one of those, and that'll take you to my Teespring store. There, you'll see that I have a variety of different designs. There's more than one, so it's not just the shirt I was wearing today. And they're also at a large variety of price points, so there's something for everybody. Plus, if you click on a design that you like or that you're interested in, you'll also notice that you can select that shirt in different colors. So you're not locked into the color that you see in the graphic. And that means, of course, you can buy the same design in several colors. Now, I don't ask that you buy a shirt. You don't have to. That is not how I ask that you support me. But if you do buy a shirt, I want to thank you so much for supporting my channel, for believing in me. You guys are awesome. My fans are great. And I love it when you guys send pictures or you tag me on Instagram and you say, "I bought a Magic Orthodoxy shirt." You have no idea how great that makes me feel, and just what a lift that is in my day. You guys are awesome. I'll see you next time. Bye.